On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Big questions really going around right now, and I think this is one that all of us should be asking, especially in our rippling sessions from time to time. Who's actually in charge? Joe Biden has pretty much fallen off the face of the earth, hasn't he? Now all of a sudden Kamala Harris, she's meeting with dignitaries from other countries. We've got Kamala Harris. We've got Obama meeting. We've got all these strange things happening. Granted, we've got Trump meeting as well. But who's actually in charge? Joe Biden. She's showing up at events, the Olympics. Who's actually running the country? And it's obviously not him, but isn't he supposed to be? Isn't that what Commander-in-Chief does? Doesn't the ultimate 25th Amendment thing have to almost come at some point? We'll see. I mean, there's so much going on right now. Democrats are losing. I feel like there's a major onslaught that's occurring against the deep state. And they are being pressured hard. I don't know if they've got the ability to really strike back as hard as they could. This failed assassination attempt, in my mind, demonstrates to many that certain people are supposed to continue to live right now for a reason. Call it a movie, call it... I think an interactive movie is a better way to put it, because you'd be surprised what you can actually impact in the movie. That's why I'm so big about trying to get people conscious of their actions, because it makes a huge difference in the overall movie. And that's what I'm starting to see, actually, is evidence of that. We're getting a speeding up of this process. We've got Trump moving fully forward, almost as a leader right now, which many of us suspect he is anyway. And we've got Biden and that whole administration crumbling, and we're literally seeing it. Sure, they're throwing Kamala out there, but she's not doing well. Things are falling apart for the deep state badly, quickly, horribly, and other adverbs. And this guy, we don't even know if he's technically alive. There was the sighting. There's been a couple sightings. He had some stupid comments that people are trying to make a deal about it. I watched it like 3 times. I'm like, I can't tell what he's saying. I'm not gonna jump on this. You probably will find people talking about it. It doesn't matter. I want to remind you guys, music-wise, coming up Friday, I've already pulled my songs. I haven't organized them and recorded them yet, which is a fun part of the process, by the way. It's one of the parts I enjoy the most. Polling, it's fun too. I like the whole experience. Like I've said before, it keeps me sane. But we're doing the Doobie Brothers this coming Friday. 3 p.m. if you want to be a part of the show. 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm sorry. Whoa, what is that? 3 p.m. Pacific. 6 p.m. Eastern. We do live. A lot of great people in the chat. There's like a solid 100 people that like to comment and talk. And say, I feel like there's a whole separate show happening in the chat. And you want to be a part of that. It's a fun community. And then we're going to have some great show going on. And you can always watch it after the effect. I've got a playlist on Rumble if you ever want to check it out. All said, hit that like and subscribe too, please. That makes a big, giant difference. Now, here's what I'm calling counter 5G. And I mean that from the standpoint of the deep state. Deep state is making a big push right now. They really had... I'd say last week when they started the Kamala thing. But we're doing a big, big push right now to sow confusion and to sow distrust. Now, I am not going to disagree that confusion and distrust already exists within our ranks. But they're trying to manipulate it. They're trying to do it from a different angle, I guess. That's all I can say. I'll do my best to try to describe. We'll see. But Russia, Iran, and China are seeking to shape U.S. elections, officials say. Americans are said to be involved wittingly or unwittingly. Reports suggest Russia favors Trump. Iran opposes him. Right? And we've got CNN coming out. Iran using covert influence campaign to undermine Trump candidacy, U.S. intelligence says. Got another story from Washington Post, I believe it was. The intelligence community, or Washington Examiner, sorry. The intelligence community believes Iran is attempting to meddle in the 2024 U.S. presidential election against former President Donald Trump, while Russia wants him to win. Pitting two enemies on the battlefield, technically, against each other now. Right? Because Iran's a tricky one. Iran's kind of funny because all the pro-Palestinian people, well, you're ultimately going to have to be pro-Iran, whether you know it or not. And that doesn't work well at all if you're a Jew. See, this is where I think the movie part's so fun, because it is literally, we're at the part of the show where the hardcore leftists figure it out. I was talking to my girlfriend today, and we were talking about her. She got this, I don't know, ex-family member or whatever you'd call it, after her husband passed away, right? Old family member. And this dude's like, he's on Social Security, whatever the one is that you're crazy, and he's never worked a day of his life and actually paid taxes or paid into Social Security, so he just, sucks off the teat. And he's the one that's like, loves Biden because he's afraid Trump's going to take that away from him. But I was thinking when we're talking, I was like, what's it going to take in the world when his Social Security starts to get threatened, and it's because of what the Dems have been doing? At what point does that begin to happen? And that may be a few steps past where we are right this second, but that group of the population, I think, is starting to have to come to terms with its own contradictions. And there are many. So the Iran thing is going to be a problem for many of them. But right now, they're against Donald Trump. Well, that makes them friends of the Palestinians, which is, again, this whole, the Jews in there, it's not going to work well. Pentagon Ukraine aid. Another accounting error they've come to find. $8.2 billion. And what's funny, and this is kind of an interesting connection, I didn't directly make it, that's for sure. Kamala campaign claims they've raised $200 million. I wonder if that's where some of this missing Ukraine money's gone. Right? All of a sudden, we've got all these accounting errors. And then all of a sudden, Kamala, who wasn't popular at all back in the day, now all of a sudden has $200 million. And they're just taking it from U.S. taxpayers to try to steal the election from us. They're taking your and my money to steal our election. It's awesome. Couldn't be more blatant, couldn't be more crazy, but this is what they're doing against us. So one thing that I thought was interesting, and this is like, I don't know, for any of you guys that follow Cliff High, and I got no bad thing to say at Cliff High. I love Cliff High. I've been following them for eons. I don't know, I feel like things are a little different lately, but all said, we're all going through our own versions of cray-cray right now, and likewise, there's a lot happening, right? And it's hard to say what's what. But what is interesting is that we're finding that AI, and this is, some weird false labels they're saying, big tech, but Meta's specifically AI. Its assistant claimed the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump was a fictional event, but had plenty to say about Democratic rival Kamala Harris's run for the White House. What's interesting, and people don't grasp, and it's unfortunate too how many people actually are like, dude, you should try AI. It's awesome. I use it for so many things. It doesn't get it right all the time. In fact, it makes information up, we've come to find. A bunch. And what this does is this creates like an information chaff in the 5G warfare. It creates all these false narratives. It creates all these false bits of information, which I think is what it's designed to do, by the way. But it creates all this fake stuff, so you and I don't know what's real or what's fake. And I will say it's tricky. It's a good job. It's well done. Now, for people that I think have evolved themselves far enough along the path, this won't work. But for those that are still early on in this waking process, this is going to cause us huge challenges. And I've already seen this, and I don't personally yet have a clue how to deal with it, other than I think it kind of works itself out. And I don't want to get into specifics, but it will work itself out. It is working itself out. But this is also helping the awakening process. It's forcing people to rely on themselves. This is one of the key ingredients to everything that we're going through. But right now they've got all this false information that's being put out, creating this chaff, creating this weird orbit of jacked up information that you don't necessarily know you can trust or not. Trump rally gunman stopped firing after local officer shot at him. So the Washington Post, this is why this was stuck in my head, they say Thomas Matthew Crooks temporarily recoiled from his rooftop perch and did not shoot again before he was killed by the Secret Service snipers, anti-snipers, counter-snipers, whatever. So what they're saying is he was and he stopped firing, and there was a period of time, and then that's when he was taken down. Now, that kind of goes along with what the recollection is. And at first I was like, no, there's no way. But what you do here, now here's the thing. I am not done with the fact that there could be a total of 3 shooters. I don't necessarily believe that yet, but I have a hard time believing Crooks is actually the guy, even though they are going to great lengths. And this is why I don't believe he's the only guy, because they're going to such great lengths to pin stuff on him. We know of this weird account they've got, we'll get there, that they're pinning to him. It would have been back when he was 14 and 15, so like this is some mastermind. I mean, he should have been bald petting a bald cat, for crying out loud. Come on, there's no way this kid was that savvy. And I have a hard time believing the first 3 shots were reasonably tamed. The ones that came after, the burst of 5 or whatever it was, those weren't. Those were just desperation, hurt who you can, don't know. But really, there was not as much damage. There's a crowd of people. And if he was literally trying to just hurt people, even with the bursts he was doing, shooting into a target that big, like the, what do they call it, the MOA or the AO, whatever it is, the circle of accuracy, if you will, there's no way he would have missed anyone. 8 shots should have hit 8 people, or at least some, multiple times. But he didn't. Hit one person, took his life. Well, Trump jacked his ear. Don't know if that bullet shared with anybody. So there's 2 potential bullets at the same time. And then 2 got injured. But 4 at least completely missed anybody. Again, thank God. But that's odd, right? That isn't really how it should be. Now, there is the time difference that they talk about. I think this is, quote, the second shooter, which is the Secret Service. Single shot, single kill. Now, I think maybe Crooks realized he had a problem. They see him. They're yelling at him. I don't know. But he might have scooched down at that point. We've got video to show what that might have looked like. And I don't think it would have been too hard to hit him, all things said. But here is the reenactment, so you can see the timing of it again, at least.
Our country, probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
And that was the final shot. And that was a different weapon. Definitely a different weapon. One shot, single shot. Pretty sure that's the one that took Crooks down. Maybe he poked his head up, and that's all it took. But the 8-10 seconds, whatever they said, dadgummit, that's close to truth. That's interesting. So finding out the FBI is now claiming that Trump shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks had an unspecified social media account. I think it was on Gab, some weird-ass name. And it was back in 2019, 2020, when he was 14 or 15 years old, and he posted anti-immigrant and anti-Semitic content. This is not consistent with Gab's understanding of the shooter's motives based on the emergency disclosure request we received from the FBI last week for the Gab account Epic Microwave, which, based on the content of the EDR, the FBI appeared to think belonged to Thomas Crooks. Many, particularly regime media reporters, have doubted Gab's claim that this request existed. Normally, we don't confirm the existence or content of law enforcement communications. In this instance, we had to make an exception due to the overwhelming public interest in the disclosure and transparency. As a courtesy to law enforcement, we are going to post the entire request. This is the first page of that request. Story is thus, or this, the account for which data was requested was unequivocally pro-Biden and in particular pro-Biden's immigration policy. To the best of Gab's knowledge, as of 2021, Crooks was a pro-lockdown, pro-immigration, left-wing Joe Biden supporter. So Gab's coming out and saying, no, everything about this count is actually not what they're telling us. Again, 5G, counter 5G, they're trying to spread information that's not true. That's all they have is lies, because the truth will destroy them. And there's little to no chance this was him, but if it was, it's been since he's a young kid, and he's been very political, I guess, for a while. Now, we've got Elon Musk talking about crooks for sure interacted with people before the attempted assassination. Question is who? And Elon Musk's 100% right. They're going back and forth on a couple things. Epic microwave, yada, yada. Now, it did make me think. There's a couple things. One, I'm like, I don't know, I was trying to put on my crazy hat, even though there's no way I can do it. But I'm like, if I wanted to pin something on somebody and make them a patsy, and they were younger, and I wanted to push like whatever, narrative I wanted, let's get them to log into an account that I have control of, and then it'll make it look like they're the ones that are posting this stuff because they logged into it, right? And all that was just like, hey, just make sure you can log in. Here's the username and password. He's like, oh, yeah, cool, that works. I got it. I was in. And then from there, they start posting crazy radical stuff. It was just one easy way to talk, FBI. You know how they always finagle somebody to do something stupid. So it was just one of those easy ways, right? And there's probably way smarter ways than just that. But it almost made me wonder. I'm like, did they create this weird account and then get him to be a part of it? Or is it, in fact, his account? Maybe. Just kind of weird. We definitely have the geofencing data that people were talking about. Seems like Crooks was visited by somebody who also visited the FBI building on regular occasion. We've got these kinds of things coming out. Interesting information, to say the least. Who knows? Got the new ad coming out from Trump, one of them anyways.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
This is America's border czar, and she's failed us. Under Harris, over 10 million illegally here. 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl. Brutal migrant crimes. And ISIS now here.
Do you have any plans to visit the border? You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
Kamala Harris failed, weak, dangerously liberal.
I'm Donald.
Now, here's the thing. I've got to say this. I've got to say this, folks. First off, that's great. That's awesome. Nobody, be it Asian, be it Indian Asian, be it black, be it Bahamian or Jamaican. I'm not really sure which. And does Jamaican, are they technically Bahamian or what? Because didn't she used to be Jamaican? Whatever. Jamaican me hungry. Doesn't matter. Where's the other race? Oh, yeah, white people, too, for that matter. Nobody should dress like this. In fact, who? Find one group of people that would look okay in this outfit. Is there one? Is that possible? What is up? I mean, I get it kind of matches, but what? Look, I dress like I'm homeless. So I'm not here to criticize. People told me the other day I was talking about the cuffs. They said, oh, those French cuffs. I had a couple people reach out to me. Those French cuffs, I used to have to wear them because I'm half gay or whatever. They didn't say that. I'm being mean. I'm just joking. I'm kidding to the two of you that emailed me. You're not half gay. You're probably totally gay. I'm kidding. Guys, people got to lighten up. When they said you wear cufflinks and all this, I'm just kidding. I'm just to you guys. You guys are great people. Keep emailing me. But what is this? You guys go ahead, okay? If you're not gay, you won't be able to figure this out. But if you are gay, you'll probably have an answer to this terrible, terrible predicament this chick is doing. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. I spent entirely too long on that, sure. But Attorney General Ken Paxton, he secured $1.4 billion settlement with Meta over its unauthorized capture of personal biometric data and largest settlement ever obtained from an action brought by a single state. Meta, TikTok, Telegram, there's a few of them, I think. They all steal information from you. Apps on your phones are one of the worst things you can possibly do, period. I will say that just all I can tell you. Just all I can tell you. Horrible way to go. Good on Ken Paxton. I was just asking, where the hell are you lately? And here we are. He's out there making a difference. Donald Trump, truth this. Facebook has just admitted that it wrongfully censored the Trump attempted assassination photo and got caught. Same thing for Google. They made it virtually impossible to find pictures or anything about the heinous act. Both are facing big backlash over censorship claims. Here we go again. Another attempt at rigging the election. Go after Meta and Google. Let them know we are all wise to them. We will be much tougher this time. MAGA. And this is the thing. They're not just going to try to steal the election with votes, folks. They're doing this too. We have to understand, yes, they're going to cheat. But if we're wise to it going into it, if we're awake or awaker this time, they stand no chance. That's the difference. You're the difference. Because you're more awake this time around than last. And because of that, we're actually going to win this time. Stephen Chung put this out. I think this is Trump's spokeshole. Trump campaign spokesperson Stephen Chung, good indication. He responded to Swalwell's interview with a statement to Fox News Digital. Quote, Eric Swallows... I didn't catch that the first time I read it. That's rad. Sorry, let's start over the quote. Eric Swallows has no idea what he's talking about and is actually projecting his weird and creepy vibes, Chung wrote. Quote, the fact remains that Kamala Harris is weak, failed, and dangerously liberal, and no amount of gaslighting from her moronic two-online campaign will erase her despicable record, he said Monday. We are going to beat the brakes off of them, and there is nothing they can do about it. I've never heard that term before, by the way, beating the brakes off of somebody. I don't know if that's a typo. I'm assuming it's not. I imagine it's overusing your brakes to the point they start to smoke and falter and not work properly. It's an assumption based off of the statement and how it is used, but I've never heard that phrase in my life. It's interesting. This is good and bad. Like, I think you should see this for what it truly is. One, it's like the double face, right? You get the black face or one and the white face on the other, or probably better to choose different colors nowadays, but two separate faces, a female, male face is a better way to put it, right? Probably should have went there to begin with, but whatever. This is that same kind of thing. It's appreciating the beauty in every one of us. Each one of us has the ability to change, change. Each one of us. And we can be both things at the same time, but actually find that common reality that works with everybody. Again, I'm getting off in the weeds kind of in the spiritual sense. It's the stuff I love talking about in reality. It's why I have a channel, but I'm supposed to talk about things you guys care about. Whatever. This dude's wearing two different shirts at different rallies. So he goes to Biden rallies and wears Trump shirts and goes to Trump rallies and wears Biden shirts. It's kind of a cute video. Kind of is. I don't know. See what you guys think.
Watch as this guy goes to a Biden protest in a Trump shirt and a Trump event in a Biden shirt. You can clearly see the difference between Trump and Biden supporters.
I'm right into the Biden protest with a Trump shirt. Get your ass across the street. What the f*** is everyone so hostile?
Go over there with your people.
You guys are my people. Look.
No, you're not. You're Trump supporter.
No, Biden sniffs children, not Trump. No, stop. Don't sniff. Stop, I'm blending in. No. Why is everyone so angry? I'm just walking the sidewalk. You see how much hate it is over here? It's a public sidewalk. I feel like I'm gonna get jumped out. Oh, man. So when you poured water on me, did it make you feel happy? Yeah. I have to change shirts. Can I hide behind you? Okay. Okay. I was feeling crazy today. Hey, come on. It's just so much more respect over here. I'm here for my favorite president, Biden 2024. I want to sniff children.
I think it's funny. I mean, this is... Everybody's kind of coming at this in their own way. This is all I can say. General Mike Flynn put this out, and these are strong words. Strong words. Trust me, I know this firsthand. It all started with Russiagate and the Hillary Clinton campaign designed and sponsored political hit job and the Obama-directed USG spying campaign, and it will not end until real Donald Trump is out of the way of the globalist plans to take over America. Yes, we are experiencing a coup d'etat of the highest order. It is a bit blundering at times, but the lefties do believe they have the upper hand. If you don't believe it and still think this is about different policy issues, you're a fool, and I cannot help you. If you see it for what it is, wake up the next person closest to you, because we are going to need all hands on deck when it comes time to choose the next POTUS. Ripples. The time is upon us. It's up to each one of us to do whatever it is we can do as individuals. It's not about sending someone an email per se. I get a lot of people that their way of waking the world up is to send me extra mail. It doesn't necessarily help, guys. Trust me. There's only so many hours a day I've got. Extra mail is not working. Notice to all House staff. Starting August 15, 2024, the CAO Office of Cybersecurity will initiate the block and removal of all ByteDance products from all House-managed devices and app stores. ByteDance applications are not allowed on any House devices, including but not limited to TikTok, CapCut, Hypic, Lark, and Lemon 8. Thank God I'm so up on my stuff and I'm aware of all but none of those. No, TikTok's the only one I'm aware of. I haven't even heard of the other ones. Probably should have. ByteDance products will be blocked and removed. Not allowed to have them anymore. I don't think we should ban the product. This I fully agree with. Government phones should not have those on there, period. They should not. People that actually care about what is being taken from them and borrowed and used and stolen by the deep state should also not have apps like this on their phones. Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody's paranoid like me. And that's not the path for everybody. Donald Trump's talking about OPEC nations. They're going all out on a drive to bring down oil prices in the hope that crazy Kamala Harris will win. That they're going to really reap the rewards because she's going to be a disaster for the United States. This is what they want is, well, I guess we drive the prices up. Whatever the cases are, I kind of took this for, he's letting us know that they're out messing with oil prices right now to potentially help out the deep state. I don't know. I feel like Saudi hasn't really been doing that, so I don't know what Trump's doing exactly on this one, but I wanted to get it out there. Didn't want it to be a surprise, but I will tell you, if there's any truth to any of that stuff, we've got stuff's going to start to affect the economy big time. Big time. It'd be great if gas prices come down for a while. That will help a lot of people make and feel better about where we're at. But this is just a hiccup in the day, and we've got time to react, time to make plans for our future. You got wealth. You've been working your ass off for years, right? Like, seriously, putting it into a 401k or an IRA. Outside of that, like my girlfriend, she was showing me her grocery pension thing. I don't want to name the company, but their liabilities out are at something like $7 billion, and their assets are $5 billion, which means they're deficit, and they've been deficit since 2008, and they've been trying to fix this pension problem. Folks, this isn't the only place this is happening. If you're in a pension, I don't know where you're at with your whole upside down thing, but there's a lot of liabilities that are costing way more than the actual assets actually have. It's not looking good for a lot of these things. And that's the problem with your IRA and 401k. Same problem is you're based off of dollars, you're based off of stocks. Both of these things working together with a heavily inflated period of time is destroying the value. It's the value. It's like your home. It's the same home as it was 20 years ago, but it's 2 to 3 times more expensive now, right? Same home. In fact, it's really less durable. You got to put a new roof on it at some point. It's not as good a home, technically, but it's worth 2 to 3 times. That's inflation. That's loss of value, the dollar's value. So you've still got a stock market that's sitting at 40? It's under 40, but whatever, right? Just call it 40 to make it easy. That's the level of money at it. But the value is being destroyed every day. So that 40 isn't really the same 40 it was even a year ago. Back then it would be more like 41, right? It's wealth and its value is diminishing. It's so painful to explain. That's why, unfortunately, these commercials are so long. DRSlikesgold.com. Look, if you've got a 401k or an IRA, you can get out of their system into something that's been performing positive value as well, meaning the price went up so much that you can actually buy more stuff with it than you could before. Not just double the price, but more stuff you can buy now. That's what's happening with precious metals. Bitcoin's doing really well too. If you want to get into that kind of world, I can't help you, but check it out. But for people that are looking for a way to transfer out of the deep state system into something that literally it's physical gold, it's put in a trust. That's why it's tax-free and penalty-free. Okay? It's physical gold with your name on it in a trust, in a location that's not at your house. And that is your now retirement plan. And right now, that has been going almost 45% positive especially since March. Prices have gone up insanely since March of this year. Insanely. And they're still heading in an upward direction. And we've still got inflation. And inflation's a year-over-year comparison. So, again, we're still up 3% from last year. Last year it was super high. So we're still up on top of the super high about 3 more percent. It's not getting better yet. Nor is it probably likely to ever go negative. We'll see. Hopefully it can. That might be under Trump. We'll see. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of their system. Tax-free, penalty-free. DRSlikesgold.com. This is, the prices of gold are not getting cheaper, and the value of your dollar is going down every day. Every day you wait is not benefiting you. If you chime in here and you act like you're going to click off the page, it'll even give you, for the same information, 4 data points. It's going to give you a chance to get a 1/2 ounce Ronald Reagan coin. If you qualify for it, they'll send that to you. You'll actually get a phone call within 15 minutes. If you fill this thing out, you're supposed to get a call like literally within 15 minutes is what they say. It's a great way to get some quick response because, frankly, if I were you, I wouldn't want to wait. So, again, click on this page. What you do is you refresh it, right? If you come in fresh and act like you're going to click off it, see how I was like, thought I was going to leave? That's how you pop that up. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of their system, folks, before they get out of you, because that is seriously what they're planning on doing. And in the meantime, while they try to destroy everything, they're also trying to create wars, right? We've got the Ukraine thing they're trying to blow up. We've got the Israeli thing they're trying to blow up. Israeli foreign minister urges NATO to expel Turkey over the threat to enter Israel. Israel's not a NATO country. And now they're saying, hey, NATO, you should expel Turkey. Which, by the way, NATO's not really America, nor should it be. So this is a weird thing kind of too that's going on. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But making matters worse, obviously, Israel airstrikes reported in Beirut, in Lebanon. I believe that's the capital, isn't it? But Beirut, it's a solid, we've had issues there way back in, the 80s and stuff? Like, way back? I mean, Beirut's always been that's always been a word we've known here in America. We may not have known exactly where it was, but we knew Beirut, right? But there it is, reported, shooting, attacking, boom. Hopefully, they're saying precision strikes, but then they're, of course, coming out and saying 13 children died, so they're going to go back and forth with that kind of crap. I didn't even bother pulling that story because, meh. So more than 1,000 known Tren de Aragua members are in the United States and have been given the green light to fire on and attack law enforcement, according to an internal bulletin that went out across the Border Patrol. The agency has encountered nearly 70 of these Tierra de Agua, which TDA, these members, since October of 2023. TDA is the largest criminal organization in Venezuela. Their troops that are here in the streets that are going to fire on police are from the same country right now with the dictator that lost the election but refuses to let go. Huh? You seeing how this all plays together? So this bulletin came out. This is what we understand. Now, interestingly, Twitter, making a strong statement, I would say, they took Nicolas Maduro's blue checkbox, removed it to a gray checkbox, which now implies that he is not a government-verified individual anymore. He's now a gray badge or something, which I don't know. Venezuelan President Maduro accuses Elon Musk of election interference and labels him an arch enemy. Now he's pissed off about his loss of his, I don't know, do you get free tweets and stuff? What, do you get something special when you get the blue check mark, other than just prestige? I mean, I was wondering, like, maybe he's really into the emojis that came with that blue checkbox. One never knows. One never knows. This is oddly, like, I don't know, it's like a weird way to protest in my mind. I was just thinking, I don't know, do you guys, I'm just curious. I'm sharing crazy thoughts with you, but like, literally, if you had a protest and you're like, yeah, we're going to protest in the city, and you're like, the city, the one that's like about 15 kilometers that way, and we'll use their words, 15 kilometers that way, and they're like, yep, that city, 15 kilometers down the road, and like, and you guys are walking, and they're like, yep, we're walking. It's like, don't you think you should take a car to, like, I don't know, 12 of those kilometers, maybe 13 of those kilometers, and park someplace, get out, stretch, and then walk? I'm just wondering, because it seems like they do a lot of walking. I'm not sure, maybe they have to.
Vienen más personas y que se
encuentra también en el centro de la autopista. Desde hace horas están estas personas aquí y en este momento pues han decidido trasladarse hacia este sentido de la autopista que va hacia las Mercedes.
I feel like it was like the Spanish version of like the Elmo or something like that, female Elmo, right? Like I don't know. I would punch my own face after probably about 2 weeks. But that's not nice. But again, they're a couple cars cruising with them. They're like, hey, do you want waters? Anything? You need anything? How are your feet feeling? Whatever the case is, people are pissed. Thank God they took down a statue of Maduro, which is probably frowned upon by Maduro. Hey, it does feel very like same thing that the anti-Palestinian people do. I don't know if you guys felt like that. I felt a little dirty watching that. But it was like the Obama statue or Hussein. There we go. Why am I forgetting his first name? But Hussein, the dude from Iraq, way back in the day. He was also all the statues taken down. I don't know, it felt weird, but here it is. Here we're doing it again. They're doing it to our statues right now. It's a weird time, guys. I don't know if you appreciate how freaking weird it is right now. But, yeah. As thousands of people demonstrated across Venezuela, opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez announced Monday that his campaign has the proof it needs to show he won the country's disputed election in which electoral authorities named President Nicolas Maduro the victor. Gonzalez and opposition leader Maria Corina Machado told reporters they have obtained more than 70% of tally sheets from Sunday's election, and they show Gonzalez with more than double Maduro's votes. Both called on people, some of whom protested in the hours after Maduro's declared the winner, to remain calm, and invited them to gather peacefully at 11 a.m. Tuesday to celebrate the results, which that was a pretty peaceful protest thus far. They say, I speak to you with the calmness of truth, Gonzalez said as dozens of supporters cheered outside the campaign headquarters in the capital at Caracas. This is crazy what's going on. So what they decide to do, how else do you take this and stop it when you're a dictator like Joe Biden? And they're following the same path, by the way. Very interesting what's happening. Maduro has taken Venezuelan opposition leader and activist Freddy Superlano. They took him into custody. Another example of Maduro's disgusting brutality and repression against the opposition. He cannot stand for this. Freddy and every activist unjustly detained by this dictator must be released immediately. This is Senator Rick Scott that's saying all these powerful words. But they arrested the opposition in Venezuela. This is what they are and have and are trying to do everywhere. The deep state is trying to take over the world. Each one of us is responsible for our part of this game. For most of my audience, that's the United States. For a bunch of you, that's Australia, that's Canada, that's England, maybe France, but I can't imagine how French people are watching me. Maybe Canadians, Quebecois, on accident, maybe. Kiwis, I know we got some of you guys in there. I don't know who else we got. Filipinos, I know we've got a bunch of you guys out there. You all need to handle your areas. We have to. It is now. All of us. It's an information war. If God forbid it has to become like it was, like it was out in the streets here, then we'll know when that time arrives. But it's not going to be when they try to egg us on with anger. It's not going to be anger. It's going to be them doing something like stealing an election. And obviously so. And it will be so obvious, there will be so many of us that will actually go to the streets that it'll be unbearable. They'll need more than F-15s. They'll need more. So we are making a difference, and now is the time to stand. Elon Musk posted this. He says this is real. There's no anything to that. I'm assuming he's stating this as fact. Narcotics rewards program offer. This is the U.S., though. They said the Department of State Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Services offers a reward of up to $15 million for information leading to the arrest conviction of Nicolas Maduro Moros. The United States is saying, we'll pay $15 million for any of you guys that can make sure this guy is taken down. This is a dictator. Now, this is what democracy becomes. That's what they want. They want dictators. They want one person to make the decisions. They're trying to take us to that direction. Socialism is the next logical step in that direction. It doesn't work anywhere. Everywhere is broke that's socialist. And communism kind of works, sort of, because they control everything, and then the state makes all the money, and you as the people are just, but you're miserable. So, yeah, we got a bit of a problem going on. Russia docks 3 more warships in Havana, continuing parade of naval ships to Cuba. They're putting resources in place. Something is being sparked, brought up, heightened. Dan Scavino Jr. posted this. Biden's rambling political speech on Supreme Court reform. What a joke. People see right through it. He's so angry right now that he failed to put his political opponent, Trump, behind bars before the 2024 presidential election, and as a result, operatives at the highest levels of the Dem Party threatened to forcibly remove him from office by invoking the 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution because he was going to get crushed by Trump. What a time to be alive. I mean, they're 100% right. Former Attorney General Bill Barr, he offered his concerns about President Biden's reform proposals for the Supreme Court on Monday, arguing they would eliminate the high court's conservative justices and destroy the independence of the judiciary. Americans need to understand that the campaign to radically change the court is coming. While current proposals like term limits for the longest-serving justices and an imposed code of ethics threaten the Constitution and the separation of powers, the far left is demanding that court be packed with additional liberal justices. Barr and Kelly Shackelford, the president and CEO, chief counselor for First Liberty Institute, wrote in their op-ed, I guess, all said. Barr and Shackelford, they said such changes would become reality if the eventual Democratic presidential nominee, likely Vice President Kamala Harris, wins in November. They're going heavily hardcore far left. And this isn't one of those things where you got to go out and make signs and stand out on the street. This is partially one of those things where you've got to have a little faith and realize that changes are coming and we're seeing major, major transitions that are occurring. But it also requires things to get worse. Worse. Like I was saying with that one guy I know that gets sucking off the teat. Well, when that teat dries up or when the amount coming from that teat's not what he wants it to be because there's no more money there because of mismanagement, well, that's the point where that individual starts to look at the teat and go, what the fuck? And here we are. DOJ to monitor Maricopa County's compliance with federal voting rights laws in Arizona primary. I don't know if this is good or bad. I don't trust the Department of Justice at all. Do I assume there's some good agents? Yeah, we keep hearing about FBI arrested a bunch of child pedophiles, and we're like, see, good job. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, well, was the FBI doing something good? I guess it can. It's obviously not everybody, right? We don't believe that, I don't think. But, boy, the FBI's tainted. DOJ, fully tainted. It's got mold all over it. It's disgusting. When you look at it, you're like, I'm not eating that. I don't care if you say I can just cut right through like cheese, right? Just cut off the mold. No. That shit's going in the trash. But I think we got to cut the mold off. Whatever the case is. Apparently, the Department of Justice, they stated that they would be monitoring Arizona's July 30th primary. They're going to ensure that the state was in compliance with federal voting rights laws in Maricopa County. Interesting county that they're doing this in, isn't it? One of the worst of the counties. I believe we've got one of these in Georgia as well. And, yeah, Maricopa was the big boy in Arizona. Huh. That's really weird. Don't know if they're going to do it. Do we trust them? Are they going to be there to fuck with us? Who knows? This is happening, though. Apparently, U.S. Attorney's Office the staff works with the U.S. Attorney's Office to enforce civil provisions of federal statutes that protect the right to vote. Looks like they're not going to trust Maricopa County. Why? Probably because of all the shenanigans we proved. And maybe it was one of those things where we're like, we really don't want to go backwards on the election. And I kind of get that argument, by the way. I don't think it's right. I don't agree with it, but I get it. Like, I hear you. But I think this might be one of those things where it's like, but this can't happen going forward. That's where I'm like, all right, I'll sort of forget about tomorrow if you can guarantee right now that we've got a surety. I'm not saying I'm making that deal for us. I'm just saying there's an argument to be made. Do I think Trump won already? Of course. I mean, again, we don't need to spend eons on this. It's been so long. Feels like it's been an eternity, especially with as fast as things are going. Feels like it was like an eternity ago when all this was happening. All right, I got some Trump stuff. Not a lot, a little. President Donald Trump was briefly delayed by Secret Service agents from taking the stage at a conference in Nashville Saturday because of another security lapse. The holdup was caused by two individuals who made their way around metal detectors inside the Music City Center, wherever, where the 2024 Bitcoin conference was held shortly before 3:30, according to law enforcement officials. Whatever the case is, these guys didn't make it in. Obviously, it wasn't because they had too many Bitcoin in their pocket that they were going around the metal detectors. Ta-ding-ting. No. Some people didn't get that joke. Bitcoin's not actually a physical thing, and it's certainly not real in any way, shape, or form. It's dots and zeros and ones. And, yeah, you can't put them in your pocket. It's impossible. They don't make a physical Bitcoin. They don't even have a pretend one. That'd be cool, though. By the way, if they came out with one of those where it had a chip in it or some shit, and that was literally like one Bitcoin, that'd be kind of cool. Donald Trump, truth is, why is Fox News putting on crazy Kamala Harris's rallies? Why do they allow the perverts at the failed and disgraced Lincoln Project to advertise on Fox News? Even Mr. Kellyanne Conway, a man so badly hurt and humiliated by his wife, she must have done something really nasty things to him because he is crazy. He's advertising on Fox News. We have to win without Fox. I kind of like that he's throwing Fox under the bus. I don't know why. That's the only reason I shared that. And it's newsworthy. J13 stuff we got going on. A security squad was shorthanded, scrambling for coverage before Trump's Butler rally, texts were revealing. A law enforcement team assigned to monitor former President Trump's July 13th Pennsylvania rally were grappling with staffing shortages ahead of the attempted assassination. Newly revealed text messages show. Redundant. A team leader with the Beaver County Emergency Services, he said Beaver, she wrote in a text chain on July 8th, 5 days before the rally, they needed to assist with the rally at the Butler Farm Showgrounds. The messenger obtained by Senator Chuck Grassley reveals. The group then sent numerous messages back and forth, with one participant mentioning fears that staffing was tight because everyone else is either working, on vacation, or hurt. Probably work those sloped roofs. Man, everybody knows that'll kill you. A few of the members of the three texts explained that they would not make the event, either with one relaying that they would be out of state at the time. Quote, Bravo has two that can stay the whole day and one that would have to leave early, end quote. Maybe it was a daycare issue. Beaver County officials did not immediately return a request for comment Tuesday on the apparent manpower shortage issue. Julie Kelly posted this. Senate hearing related to assassination attempt underway. New USSS director will testify. I kind of like the guy. I'm going to go up front, say that at first. I think Hawley beats him up kind of unfairly. I think I'm just going to say all this stuff because we're going to try to play these reasonably quickly. And we had a couple other people, the senators that got to talk to him. I didn't pill everybody's stuff. I watched a bunch of extra crap. I don't know. These ones were pretty good. I feel like we're covering the gambit. But yeah, they had their discussion with the gentleman. We'll see what he does. I don't know if I trust him. Mayorkas put him in, but who knows these days? Who knows? Maybe the military's actually in charge, right? And there's just shenanigans going on in front of us. You keep hearing people say, so no, they killed so-and-so. He's in git mode. It's like, all right, I don't know, whatever. I don't know anymore, okay? All I can do is verify the ones that pop up on TV. Well, they're telling us he still exists, right? Whether or not he does in real life or doesn't, right? Like Biden's a good example, right? We've seen the different Bidens. We've seen there's two Trumps. What's up with that guy? We got one dude with the white eyes, right? There's something different there too. So whatever. There's weird stuff going on all over the place. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the big picture. But here's his opening remarks. We're going to play these. I want to play them at 1.2 speed again, just because of time's sake. I've already got a little long because of me talking too much.
A critical part of the Secret Service mission is protecting our nation's current and former government leaders. The attempted assassination of former President Donald J. Trump on Saturday, July 13th, 2024, in Butler, Pennsylvania, was a failure on multiple levels. I join you and all Americans in condemning the horrific assault on former President Trump, Corey Comparator, James Copenhaver, and David Dutch. And I extend my deepest sympathies to the Comparator family and my sincere wishes for Mr. Copenhaver and Mr. Dutch's continued recovery. Before I begin, though, I want to commend the heroic actions of the men and women of the United States Secret Service on July 13th. Our special agents shielded the former president with their bodies while shots were still being fired, selflessly, willing to make the ultimate sacrifice without hesitation. I am extremely proud of these actions and those taken by the counter-sniper team to neutralize the threat that prevented further loss of life. And I applaud the actions of our tactical teams that responded so quickly. I would also like to express my gratitude to our federal, state, and local partners. We rely on these critical relationships, which have developed over decades of daily collaboration to secure protective events and conduct criminal investigations. As you're aware, there are multiple ongoing investigations of the attack and the security failures that occurred that day. I pledge my full support to those inquiries so the Secret Service, your committees, and the American people have a thorough and complete understanding of what happened leading up to and during July 13th. I will not wait for the results of those findings to assess where we failed that day. I have taken and will continue to take immediate steps to ensure we do not repeat those failures. Since my appointment as the acting director 1 week ago, I identified gaps in our security on July 13th and have implemented corrective actions. One of my first actions as acting director was traveling to the Butler Farm Show site to better understand how our protection failed. I went to the roof of the AGR building where the assailant fired shots, and I laid in a prone position to evaluate his line of sight. What I saw made me ashamed. As a career law enforcement officer and a 25-year veteran with the Secret Service, I cannot defend why that roof was not better secured. To prevent similar lapses from occurring in the future, I directed our personnel to ensure every event site security plan is thoroughly vetted by multiple experienced supervisors before it is implemented. It is clear to me that other protective enhancements could have strengthened our security at the Butler event. As such, I have directed the expanded use of unmanned aerial systems at protective sites to help detect threats on roofs and other elevated threats. I've also directed resources to facilitate our protective site communications, particularly our communications with our state and local partners. In addition, I have instructed the asset request for Secret Service protective details to be approved expeditiously and have ordered the maximum use of requested personnel at protective sites to address this heightened security environment.
Why does his glasses look all weird? Anyway, that's yes, exactly. He doesn't think what happened was good. Obviously, it's kind of hard not to say that. Cheadle even said that, I guess. But again, some tough questions come. I forget who brings these ones up. This guy, Senator such. He's going to be asking some. He asks good question. It gives him a chance to kind of sort of demonstrate, I think, some of how he saw it play out. I don't know. See what you guys think.
Talk to me about that site survey. I'm sure you've had a chance to look at it now after action. And how did that site survey get approved when it was so clear that that was a major threat from that building?
Thank you, Senator. So our Pittsburgh field office did the advance. During that advance, not only were they discussing amongst themselves about mitigating the line of sight, but also they were discussing with other agencies that were supporting it. Our counter snipers met with their counterparts. The team lead and team lead met. They walked the site. They identified the AGR building. And if I may, Senator, if I could point out something right now, if I may, and we will place this for the record, but this is the point of view. This is from the second floor of the AGR building. This point of view is the point of view where the counter sniper team locally was posted. The gold arrow indicates where the shooter fired from. Looking left. Why was the assailant not seen? When we were told that building was going to be covered, that there had been a face-to-face that afternoon, that our team leads met, this was the view. Let me show you another view, Senator. B. This view is a reenactment by one of my agents. Laying flat. There is a 5-inch rise on the middle of that roof. The assailant would have had to present his bore over that to get his shot off. The view underneath reflects the perspective that he would have had. Again, I call your attention back to the first exhibit, if they'd have looked left. Give me C. This is what our counter sniper team saw. Shooter, no elbows. You barely make out the crown of his head. Below it, the assailant up prone. And let me just tell you, our counter sniper, this individual, I know him. I consider him a friend. He has covered me operationally in conflict zones. And when I did my time on the president's detail, he exemplifies the courage, the skill, and the ability to respond under great stress in such short time to neutralize a threat and prevent further loss of life. Getting back to your question, Senator, these were discussions that were had between the Pittsburgh field office, the local counterparts, and everyone supporting that visit that day. And that's why when I laid in that position, I could not, and I will not, and I cannot understand why there was not better coverage, or at least somebody looking at that roof line when that's where they were posted.
Yeah, I mean, the imagery that he gives, I feel like is really strong evidence. Everything we've heard is nonsense. They would have had a beautiful view of this guy right through the scope. Done deal. And it was at short range, reasonably short range for these guys especially. So things just don't add up. Here's Grassley talking to him as well.
I made public documents that show Secret Service deployed a counter unmanned aerial system operator on July the 13th. According to the Secret Service, the drone system was supposed to be operational at 3 p.m. that day. However, we've been told by Secret Service that because of cellular bandwidth problems, it wasn't operational until about 5:20 of that day. If the system was operational, Secret Service would have had the ability to detect the shooter and his own drone use. Why is the Secret Service dependent upon local cellular network? Does the Secret Service have a backup plan in place?
Yes, thank you, Senator. And that is something that I briefed in the closed door, and again, something that has cost me a lot of sleep because of the eventual outcome of the assailant. That what if we had geolocated him because that counter-UAS platform had been up? It is something that I have struggled with to understand, and I have no explanation for it. Okay. It is something that I feel as though we could have perhaps found him. We could have maybe stopped him. Maybe on that particular day, he would have decided this isn't the day to do it because law enforcement just found me flying my drone.
Yet they didn't. So again, why weren't standard technologies used? Probably not expense. You probably got so many of these things. Now, here's where Hawley, I believe this is Hawley. No, this is Senator Kennedy. Okay, we'll do Hawley next. But Kennedy's got, of course, always funny things to say, and it's the only reason I've even got him in here, because I think he's funny as hell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Abate, am I saying your name right?
Yes, Senator, thank you.
You are the Deputy Director of the FBI, is that correct?
Yes, Senator.
Is there any doubt in your mind or in the collective mind of the FBI that President Trump was shot in the ear by a bullet fired by the assassin crooks?
Senator, there is absolutely no doubt in the FBI's mind whether former President Trump was hit with a bullet and wounded in the ear. No doubt, there never has been.
Okay.
I've been part of this investigation since the very beginning, and that has never been raised.
You're sure?
Yes.
It wasn't a space laser?
No.
It wasn't a murder hornet?
Absolutely not.
It wasn't Sasquatch?
No, Senator.
It was a bullet?
It was a bullet, Senator. 100%.
Fired by crooks?
Yes, sir.
That hit President Trump in the ear and almost killed him?
100%, Senator.
Okay. Glad we cleared that up.
I love when he asked, is it a space laser or alien or whatever? And the look on the dude's face was like, where, huh? that was funny as hell. And then he was like, all right, Senator Kennedy. All right, yeah, possible. Weird things, sure. Is this Hawley? Here's Hawley. All right, again, love Hawley for the most part. But I disagree that just because some mistake happened that you have to publicly fire someone. In fact, it bothers me a lot that he pushes that so hard. So I just want to preface that. I'm going to taint your experience with my taint. Because it bugs the shit out of me that he does this. Like, I kind of agree with the dude. He might be deep state. I don't know. Not Hawley, but whatever the Secret Service guy's name is. I don't know, Ronald Rowe Jr. I don't know if he's a good guy or not. I like what he's saying so far, myself. I don't know. You guys throw in the comments. Tell me I'm crazy. It's happy. Cool. Not the first time. But we'll see. I don't know. Here's Holly, I feel, being grandstanding or unfair. I'm not sure which. Or both. I don't know.
Well, sure. My question is, why don't you relieve everybody of duty who made bad judgment? So, yeah, you're right. I am zeroing in on somebody. I'm trying to find somebody who's accountable here. And you're telling me that the person who made the decision not to include this in the perimeter has not been relieved of duty. What about the person who's in charge of the interoperability of radio frequencies between local law enforcement and Secret Service? Has that person been relieved of duty?
No, Senator, because interoperability is a challenge, is a greater challenge than just one person. On that day, we had a counterpart system. It failed.
As the person who made the decision to send Donald Trump onto stage knowing that you had a security situation, has that person been relieved of duty?
No, sir, they haven't.
Has the person who decided not to pull the former president off of stage when you knew that, in your words, the locals were working a serious security situation, has that person been relieved of duty?
No, sir. Again, I refer you back to my original answer that we are investigating this through a mission assurance. And as opposed to zeroing in on one,
what more do you need to investigate to know
exactly what the
what more do you need to investigate
was.
to know that there were critical enough failures that some individuals ought to be held accountable? I mean, what more do you need to know?
What I need to know is exactly what happened, and I need my investigators to do their job. And I cannot,
a lot of people didn't do their
cannot
jobs.
put my thumb on the scale. Otherwise,
what do you mean put your thumb on the
objective? You're asking me, Senator, to completely make a rush to judgment about somebody failing. I acknowledge this was a failure of the
Is it
Secret
not
Service.
prima facie that somebody has failed? A former president was shot.
Sir, this could have been our Texas school book depository. I have lost sleep over that for the last 17 days,
Then
just like you
fire
have.
somebody to
and I will
hold them
tell you,
accountable.
Senator, I will tell you, Senator, that I will not rush to judgment, that people will be held accountable, and I will do so with integrity and not rush to judgment and put people
I can't believe that
unfairly
you
persecuted.
are unfairly persecuted.
Unfairly,
We've got people
sir.
who are
We
dead.
have to be able to have a proper investigation into this, Senator.
You said earlier that you've got to make sure that your protocols are followed, and unless there's a protocol violation, people wouldn't be disciplined. I would just say to you, I don't really care that much about your protocols. I think if your protocols don't provide for the fact that when a former president is shot, when an American is killed, when other rally-goers, innocent people who just showed up on the day, when they are shot at and critically wounded, if that isn't a protocol violation prima facie, you should revise your protocols.
Senator, I think this is where you and I agree. This was a failure, and we will get to the bottom of it.
Well, I hope you're going to do something about it.
Again, I so very much disagree with Holly on this approach. I agree with the guy. Again, you guys might disagree with me. Let's see the comments below. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I don't think just firing mid-level person because that's as far as your investigation's gotten you thus far, when it could have led further and further and further. And I think it warrants finding the highest individual you can get to and then burn the shit out of that person, because they'll probably finally fess up to who they're really answering to. But that's what it spins down to. We got to take this to the top, and sometimes those things take a little time. You may not, they just don't volunteer that information. They stand a lot to lose by giving up who their upward people are, because they may lose their lives for that. But like oftentimes, if you've ever watched Reacher, he's like, worry about me right now. What's going to happen to you with me? It's like, don't even worry about what happens after this. You have a chance to deal with that. Right now, you have zero chance. I love that show, by the way. Still waiting for the third series, by the way. Nah, it's killing me. All right. A Secret Service counter sniper sent an email Monday night to the entire uniformed division, not agents, saying he will not stop speaking out until the 5 high-level supervisors, one down, are either fired or removed from their current positions. The counter sniper also said the agency should expect another assassination attempt before the November, and complained that he is no longer proud to be a United Secret Service agent or counter sniper after leadership failed the officers at the Trump rally in Butler. So yeah, this agency needs to change. He's calling it out. So we'll see. And he says it's been happening for years, but yeah, they've been trying to slowly erode away at the protective forces. It's happened before. So let's either say they tried to erode away, or they've always kind of been in control of certain personas and they've been able to fracture things enough. Because JFK, I mean, if you do any sort of study into that and you find out, just even off the bat, just easy one, they took a different path with the car for whatever reason last minute, plus some other weird stuff that happened. So again, there was a number of strange things that happened that day. The deep state was running the show. They still have been. They just, we just got to understand that. All right, this is that same Taragua thing. I was wondering where the second one was. FBI Director Paul Abbott, whatever, they said it earlier, says officials have discovered a social media account which appeared to belong to the Trump rally shooter in 2019. This goes back to that Gab account that we were talking about. So they're bringing that back up. Desperately trying to make it sound like this guy was sort of a Trump supporter, even though he's neo-Nazi too. But they're trying to pin him on the right. It's weird how hard they're working at this. This was totally planned. The information's coming out, and we've actually had, I don't know, I think I saw it on Tory Says, they were talking about how anybody that's dug in, I shared it earlier, when they look back at the history of this particular account, that this account's pro-Biden. But they feature this one moment, this one post or something, where he's like, see, he's anti-immigrant, so that thusly makes him pro-Trump. It's crazy what's going on. Folks, things are getting weird. I don't want to spend a lot of time because I'm going to cover a second advertiser as well. I'm doing 3 of them, but I'm not going to do long ones here. I apologize. But Energy Tech, guys, look, the power's going to possibly go out. You got generators, it's awesome. Here's the only thing I'm going to say about generators. 1, they're awesome, and if you know your neighbors are cool and you can trust them, then certainly, dude, generators are a way better choice. But what this is, this Energy Tech, this 1500, it's 1500 watts solid, and you can do up to 3,000 watt spikes. So this thing's solid, and you can run it for hours. You can run refrigerators and all sorts of crazy. I ran my flat screen TV, big one, by the way, and I ran it for a while. And it works great. I keep looking forward to trying to plug in my computer. It should work because my computer, I think, is less than 1,500 watts on the power supply. So I don't see any reason why it won't. But it's just been me shutting down my computer so I can test it. That's actually harder than you, because I got things open. I'm always in the middle of something, right? Like, it's just a pain in the ass. So whatever. The opportune moment hasn't happened yet. I want to try it out big time. Energy Tech is awesome. They're an American-made company. They make stuff for the military. It's actually shielded with a metallic box. It's not like the EcoFlow, which I own one of those as well. It works. It's fine. But it's got a plastic cover. If shizzle hits the fan in any way, shape, or form, some sort of EMP type situation occurs at all, that plastic is screwed. This metal one's not. That's a Faraday cage. That's what a metal cage is. All the goods are inside of it. And so maybe something on the outside of it's going to get fried, but your actual power supply will make it. You also can get solar panels for these, which can charge it quietly. You can quietly run things with this. It's also awesome if you're an RVer or if you're someone that kind of likes to camp. This is a great way to run all sorts of stuff. Make sure your phones and laptops and everything else still work, even though we're roughing it. We don't want to rough it without technology. So this is an excellent way to go. I'd love it if you'd go to energytech.com/on the fringe. That's energy with an I, INERGY, Energy Tech, TEK. Yeah, tough to spell, but once you've got this product, and they make a couple other ones. Hit the little drop down. They've got a 1,000 and other ones. They, for some reason, set it up with the 1,500. I got the 1,500. It's freaking awesome. This is an amazing piece of equipment that is made military grade for our military in America, and it's something that's going to save you when the lights go out for any length of time. This is the way that you're actually going to be able to keep your refrigerator on. That's the one thing that freaks me out, losing the food. I got some stuff in the freezer. Don't want to lose that. I don't know about you. Go to energytech.com/on the fringe. Energytech.com/on the fringe. Seriously, it's going to be our best chance to save ourselves through some of this crap that we've got coming up. Attorney General Andrew Bailey put this out. He obtained a court order forcing the border czar, Kamala Harris, and Joe Biden to finish President Trump's border wall. They decided not to appeal. Apparently, that makes the win final. I'm curious if this is true. If that's the case and they actually have to start building the wall like he's claiming, that is all sorts of crazy nonsense. Look at that go on. A little bit with Kamala. Okay, one story anyway. Senator Kennedy. Oh, it's kind of funny too. Let's go ahead and play this. I love this guy. I love Kennedy. He's funny as hell. He just is.
It may not be fair, but I'm just telling you what the polls show. Many Americans think that the vice president is a little bit of a ding-dong, that she's not serious.
This ding-dong, Senator, has risen.
A ding-dong. Those are actually delicious. If you guys remember those foil-wrapped Hostess ding-dongs, delicious. Medical malpractice, martial law. HHS bird flu declaration spurs fears of liability-free vaccines. They're preparing something. I don't know if they can pull this off a second time, guys. I don't know. They're going to try. They're talking all sorts of crazy different variants of the flu. Again, not going to spend a lot of time on this one especially. twc.health/OTF. They got the med kits. They got the contagion kit. That's the one you want to check out. That's got your Ivers. It's got your Amoxis, it's got, it's got a few things in it. Ivermectin, it's got hydroxychloroquine, it's got azithromycin, it's got the generic Tamiflu, it's got the Pulmicort, and then it's got the nebulizer to work with all this stuff. This is your flu heaven right here, all right? Any sort of respiratory ailment, this is going to help you. They've got all the explanations. Doctors are putting this together. It's a prescription-based thing. They explain how it all works. You can ask them questions. There's memberships. There's everything else. I highly recommend this contagion kit going into what they've got. Here's the thing. If you're prepared for what they're throwing at you, hence why I had up the energy tech, if you're prepared for what they're throwing at you, you'll be okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. We will be fine. This is the transition and end of their world. That, yes, they're freaking out. But it's not the end of our world. In fact, not even close. It's going to be the beginning of the dawn, I think, and many of us will start to see it once we cross this weird threshold. Be prepared. twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. The Contagion Emergency Kit. Also highly recommend the Spike Support Formula. That is the one that helps bind to that area where the spike protein is built, where it wants to try to attach, right, to your body. Or this thing actually helps. It kind of takes up that spot, and then it pulls it out of your body and lets you remove the bad mojo, if you will, the bad elements floating around, the bad molecules, right? Like the spike protein is what it is, basically. This thing attaches to it, and it helps remove it, helps deorbit the spike protein, if you will. I don't know how else to say it. Anyway, you want to go to twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. The code's going to save you some money. It's going to help the channel out, and it's going to get you moving along very quickly. So go to twc.health/OTF. Fantabulous. What's the same? Proud of my team. Oh, Andrew Bailey again. We finally got something out of Ken Paxton, but Andrew Bailey's like catching up, right? It's like weird. Proud of my team on the ground in New York today who offered testimony against Letitia James' case to destroy Missourians' Second Amendment rights. I will not sit idly by while at New York State Attorney General actively targets more than 82,000 Missourians who are proud NRA members. The Second Amendment is alive and well. Hooah! In Missouri, they basically would say. A bunch of ego clowns managed to attack Heathrow's airport in London. They get inside and they're running around with extinguishers. They have to be outside the ticketing or something because there's no way this got through any sort of security. They literally have a fire extinguisher with this orange stupid paint. I'm not going to play it, but they're doing this kind of stuff in places that are really secure. Are they going to do anything with these guys? This vandalism. It's disturbing traffic and commerce, and I mean, there's got to be laws against this. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Judicial Watch is filing an FCC complaint against NBC for airing the obscene and indecent content from the opening of the Olympic Games. I kind of like this, frankly. Coming from an FCC background, I would say without a doubt, that's a good idea. Like, you can't do stuff like that. And that's very indecent. And kids can watch that. And the time of day that they were airing it was very prime kid time. This whole thing smells badly. Not just because it's French, but other reasons too. We'll see whatever comes from all that. Young thugs, they're staying in jail. There's, I think, a few of them. They got a new judge now. New judge came in, they're like, yeah, no, there's like a racketeering thing going on with all y'all. Hell no, I'm not letting you out of jail. No, back in the slammer. Right? Nothing but slamming metal behind him. But yeah, she's like, no, you guys are staying in jail. I mean, she may hear some stuff. They don't talk about that so much in the article, but she's like, no, not letting you out of jail. That's stupid. Okay, folks, here's the thing, guys. 5.1 earthquake. Even if it happens in places like Texas. I know it scares you guys a lot. Earthquakes are not that big a deal in the big picture. When they get up over 6, they really are start to become big deals. Don't get me wrong. And every like 5.2 is like 10 times stronger than 5.1. It's weird how it works. All said, if California has an earthquake and it's in the 5.5 range, don't stress it. We're fine. It's funny how they make big damn deals about it, and people like put it out like, oh, there's an earthquake that was over a 5. Oh, It's like, come on, Japan and California, we have earthquakes. We do. Now, what is weird about this one is Barstow area. It was a 4.9, by the way. They must have downgraded it, which they frequently do. So it wasn't a 5.1, it was a 4.9. I did actually think I felt it. And this is what someone asked me today. Did you feel it? And I'm like, when was it? And he's like, told me the time. And I'm like, because there was a moment where I'm like, am I experiencing my first earthquake in my new house? And I was like, maybe, but I didn't know. And I didn't care. It did, right? And I'm not that far from Barstow. So don't worry, people. Earthquakes happen. And they're not necessarily always underground dumbs, but this one was actually like 7.4 kilometers, 7.6 kilometers underground, which puts it in the dumb range, by the way, in Barstow. And they were all in the same exact area, which is also strangely suspicious. So I don't know. This one, this would be, I've talked frequently about how not all things are necessarily the dumbs going down, or not all earthquakes are that. This would be one of them that I might actually consider, just because of and I was noticing it when I was looking at the USGS, the actual seismograph information, basically. In a typical earthquake, they kind of go along the fault lines. They tend to move. It's just usually the aftershocks are very, very close, but not right on the exact same spot. And these were all exactly on top of each other. That's either a volcano or something. Like that's weird. So that was the weird thing. All the other ones were really small, but they could have been echoes. They could have been explosions. They could have been follow-up explosions. Who knows? Who knows? But that one was fun. Small earthquake, though, by the way. Just don't sweat it. 5.1? No. Come on now. Even Texas should be able to take that, though. You guys don't necessarily build your buildings for that. And you're on a lot of, like, water. And, yeah, like Florida, you guys would die. I mean, alligators would probably run into your house or something crazy. Finally, just saying, federal judge is warning that he may have to drag Rudy Giuliani into court after the former New York City mayor claimed he was too broke to pay administrative fees on his recently tossed bankruptcy case. It sounds like he's just kind of just throwing middle fingers to everybody right now. And it's like, you've ruined me. You've damaged me beyond recognition. So I don't care. Like, whatever. F you. No, I'm not paying you. No, I'm not paying you. No, I'm not paying you. Sir, you just walked out with a latte. Bye. Like, I don't think he cares about anything right now at all. So we'll see. I don't hate the man. He's been through got to breathe out the bad. Guys, I love you. Keep fighting the fight. We are making a difference, but things are getting super hot, and they're going to get it hotter coming up. We're not there yet. I keep saying it. I don't think I'm going to disappoint you guys, but at the same time, you're going to be bummed because it's just going to be that next step. People need to wake up. The people that really can't see this yet, I think a lot of them are going to see this. Prepare for that the best you can. Things are going to get a little wonky, however that is. Don't know. And it's probably good I don't, frankly, because it messed with me. All said, I'll even turn my camera back on just because. I love you guys, and I want to keep fighting this fight with you, shoulder to shoulder. We're even and together on this. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.